Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Player Spotlight series for the Carlton 2020 off-season. Pom's with me as always, not from the Norton's pub, unfortunately, but today we are talking about what we believe to be, at the time of filming this video, an absolute certainty to be at Carlton next year, and that's Mr. Zac Williams. Pom, happy, unhappy? What's the vibe?
I'm stoked with Zac Williams. Like, if we have a look at his numbers this year as well, I mean, you've got to remember this year hasn't been his traditional best year. He's been deployed a lot more defensively in 2020 than he has been before. And we believe that's the reason he's sought the move, that he wants to be in the midfield. And a lot of midfielders at GWS are suffering from this heavy rotation. They have a lot of players that want to play midfield that don't. So for me, their loss, our gain. It's by this stage, they're not going to match the offer we've had, which means he's totally free. He walks to us. We maybe played a little bit overs based on the price. They say it's 800k around that figure. But on potential, 800k could be child's play, because when this guy has played in midfield, if we go Collingwood in the prelim, he had basically the triple-double of AFL, 10 tackles, 10 clearances. He dominates. And this guy is a superstar if he can stay fit. Absolute great pickup by Carlton Football Club.
Yeah, I look at this guy, and the first thing that comes to mind when I watch him play is he's always looking to create. And, there could be knockers on his disposal efficiency at times, but he has a very offensive-minded game. And for a guy who's spent quite some time in the defensive half of the ground, and a guy who has obviously sacrificed that personal want to play as a midfielder, I just can't help but feel this is the perfect situation, because really we've been crying out for another, A-grade, good to great midfielder to add to what we have already, to add to that. I think if you look at this guy and you add him into the midfield, immediately everyone just goes down a level, and then it creates that depth. So is this guy, for you, is this a full-time midfielder if he comes to the club?
100%. I think when you look at just his numbers from last year playing down back, they're pretty impressive for someone that spent 51% in the defensive half, and he only ever got as high as on the wing. That's the highest he went. He didn't get much on the ball time. He had 12% of his game time on the ball, and we know that's where he wants to play. But you look at this guy when he has played on the ball, it is a scary proposition. He rates elite in tackles. He averages just under 4 a game, coming off the centre, playing in the centre. He rates elite for clearances, elite for hard ground ball gets. The guy is tough as well. Not only is he flashy, he's also willing to get his hands dirty. He knows how to snag. He's very good at creating opportunities as well, averaging a score from 1 in 8 of his inside 50s. The guy is literally an attacking machine as well. He's an attacking machine, and he suits David Teague's game plan of attack at all costs. He looks to create. Like you say, he looks to attack. That's his native instinct. Make something happen. And this guy with the ball in hand can make things happen. And I predict a little bit of a Jack Martin about this guy. I think he comes to a happy atmosphere. He gets what he wants. And we saw the difference in Jack Martin's game. When he got what he wanted and he got to play where he wanted, he really did turn games open for Carlton Football Club. And I've got no doubt that I think Williams is already a better player than Jack Martin was when he came to us. And he's shown a lot more than Jack Martin did. So for me, I could see this guy going from being very good to elite. I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy top 3 BNF next year. Like, that's how good he is. I think he could really knock on the door of Cripps and Walsh, Jacob Waiter, and say, boys, you're good, but I'm here now.
Yeah. There seems to be an air of he definitely feels like he has a lot more to give, and he's needed to sacrifice that a little bit just because of the makeup of the Giants side. Whereas, because there's so many of them who you could argue take, who are more of a priority than what he is. Whereas come to Carlton, he's straight up into that top 5 echelon. He's very highly paid if the figures are correct. We don't know what the figures are. We're looking. There's been reports that it's close to 850, 900. I have a general rule of thumb that I use, and it's not right or it's not wrong. I always take $150,000 to $200,000 off what is reported. So we're looking at something like 650 to 750 in my theory. So having said that, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to spend. We've done a few of those deals before. Jack Martin's on roughly 600 when you average out his contract over the the course of the length of it. We know Mitch McGovern's on that sort of money. We know Cripps is up there. We know Charlie's up there. I can only assume Jacob Wiedering would be up there. So we need to make sure that if we're going to be spending this type of money, because now the reality is we're talking about the business of sport, and this is an investment. So we need to be sure that if we spend this money on this type of player, we're going to get that return. Is there anything that we should be mindful of? I know that there are some injury concerns. I feel like he's been injured. There's always a portion of the season where he misses every single year. Is that something to be worried about, or do we back in the fact that we've got Andrew Russell and we've invested heavily in our high performance staff to overcome that?
I think we'd have to back it in. I think you'd have to. You're right, though. He does love. If he was playing soccer, they'd nickname him Sick Note. He does find a way to not make the full season. But one benefit is it's always a different part of his body per se. He has had his shoulder injuries, he's had his hammies, he's done his calf. That's probably a positive sign because it's not the same nagging injury week in, week out, which I would say would put a bigger grey area over him. We do know that GWS, for some reason or another, do suffer injuries a lot throughout the year. If you actually look at them, they are an injury-prone side. They just probably don't notice it because the AFL has gift-horsed them half the greatest players of the last 10 drafts. So he is definitely a player for me that you look at. And I think one thing that endears him to Carlton fans off the bat is you look at him statistically, he genuinely plays his best games against Essendon and Collingwood. So that's the way that we forget about how much you're paid. If you suddenly have a 30-touch game, kick 2 goals against Collingwood, we just forget about you because it means you and me can make videos to Swoop Luke talking about Zac Williams.
Exactly right. Well, I'm excited for this one, mate. At the time of filming this, it's not confirmed that he has signed with the club yet. We're very confident this is going to go through, and it's the addition that we've needed for a couple of years now. So I'm pretty pumped for this. What about you guys in the comments? Let us know. What do you think about Zac Williams? Are you excited for him? Do you have question marks? It's all on the table now. We haven't seen him play a game for us yet, but hopefully by round 1 he's lining up. Looking forward to it. Let's have a chat about it, and we'll go from there.